Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning. Glad to be back with y'all on another Thursday for a stronger and better segment. We got an exciting show. Please share this show. Say hello as you coming in. As you uh, come in, please say hello to us. Say good morning to us. And just glad to be here on another Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. I know some of our people are down south, so this is what is that, Central Time. So good morning to everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Come on, y'all. Come on in and please share this. We got an exciting show that's going to happen today. I'm trying to log on to my Facebook so I can do a watch party myself. But come on in, say good morning. Glad to be with you guys on another show. It's exciting to be here. We're going to be talking about health today, and it's an important subject, and we want to make sure that everybody's staying healthy and getting the right information, and that everyone is doing what they need to do. I see people are starting to come in, so please say good morning to us. Let us know that you're here. Like I said, share this, and let's create a watch party, and let's get as many people involved in the conversation as possible. Good morning. I see my aunt is online. Good morning, auntie. How you doing? How you doing? Good morning. Y'all say good morning to us as y'all come in. And Miss Turner is on the line. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good to see you. Glad to have you with us. Devada is on the line. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Mr. Thompson. Good morning. Glad to have you guys with us this morning. Y'all make sure y'all say good morning to us. Like I said, we got an exciting show that's coming on. Good morning. Good morning, Miss Leonard. Good to see you. Good morning. Good to see y'all this morning. Good morning, Miss R. Scott. Glad to have you here with us this morning. Glad you're joining us. And please share this exciting show about health on today. What's up, Paula? What's going on? You know, I love you, miss you. So good morning to y'all. We have my sister that's gonna be with us this morning. I love her so much. She's such a smart individual, smart woman. So I got people call me during showtime. Ain't this something? They know I go on at 11, so I'm gonna have to decline that call. I'll talk to them later. But good morning to everybody. Glad to have you here. And like I said, we're gonna be talking about health and how important that is. And everything. So, but I'm gonna go ahead and bring my sister on the line because I don't want to waste any time. What's up, Michelle? What's going
What's
on?
up? What's up? Good
I'm,
morning. Good morning,
you know,
everybody.
good morning. I'm so happy to see you. Glad you're with us this morning, and
Yes.
we have a great topic this morning, and people are coming in now. And please, y'all, if you have any questions, as always, put your questions in the comment section, or you can join us live. I'll post it in a few minutes where you can join us live to ask your questions. Michelle is a wonderful individual when it comes to health, and she's one of my best friend's wife. So, you know, I'm elated to have her with me. This is a
I'm glad to be
Darren's
here.
wife. So, that's my brother. That's
Yeah,
that's
that's
my
my
ace
claim
right
to
there.
fame. That's my claim to fame.
That's right. That's right, right. But he has a wonderful wife that I'm gonna tell you who has dropped over the years some knowledge on my life in terms of me staying healthy. And I thought it would be wonderful to have Michelle on the show and talk about what's going on in the health world. So, Michelle, just why don't you give us a little introduction about yourself and tell us, you know, give us a little information about what you do and what you got going on.
Well, hello, everybody. First and foremost, I want to thank you, Laura. Thank you so much for having me. I know y'all probably can already by now hear the southern drawl in my
Yes,
voice, so
yes.
I'm all the way down here in the SIP. So
She
I just wanted to
country.
come in and make sure that everybody knows and who I am. But I'm Michelle Hedgman, and I have pretty much a tenure of about 20 years in nursing. I actually started out as a practical nurse, believe it or not, back in
Wow.
2001. So,
Wow.
with that being said, I advanced in my career back in 2005. I went back and got my associate's degree and graduated in 2007, and then had some babies in between there. And
Wow.
after I did that, got married, had some babies, and I said, well, you know what? I'm gonna try this thing out again. So I went on back to school again, and I obtained my bachelor's back last year in 2019 in nursing. So that's just a little bit about me. Of course, like he said, I am married to Bishop Elect
Yes,
LaBaron Hedgeman.
yes, yes, yes,
Yay!
yes, yes.
Yes, and as Leroy has already said, we are very, very good friends and
Yes,
more so family. So,
yes,
with that being said, I just wanted to make sure that you guys know that, hey, this is disclaimer. I'm just speaking from a knowledge base. I'm not really giving you any kind of medical advice outside of what your professional is already telling
absolutely.
you. I'm just here to add to that. All right.
Absolutely. We want to make sure that, if you are having health issues, that you do consult your personal doctor and make sure that you
Right.
follow their regimen or what they want you to do. But we want to
Right.
take this opportunity to just, like Michelle said, give knowledge.
Yes.
The Bible talks about lack of knowledge. If you don't
Oh,
have
yes.
knowledge, you're missing
Oh, yes.
out on a lot of things. So we decided we want to talk about this medicinal mindset. And
Yes.
when it comes to health, and we have so many things going on in the world right now, especially with the COVID-19
Hmm.
issue and the news every day, every single day.
Every day.
News is talking about this, they talking about that, and they're
Mhm.
going back on their word about this, they're going back on their word, or they're telling us what we should be doing. Um,
Mhm.
and it's it's interesting how it affects our mindset in terms of health. And
Absolutely.
so if you can kind of just talk to us a little bit about that and um to start this conversation.
Yes. Well, first and foremost, we all know the word, and basically I'm not here to preach to you. I'm actually just here to, like I said, share some knowledge, but we know what the word says concerning our health.
Yeah,
We know that we shall prosper in our soul, even in our health, just as the word says. We also know that the scripture tells us and talks to us about our minds, that we should keep our mind in perfect peace, okay, which is also in Christ Jesus. Then it also talks about how we should have a mind that is transformed, be renewed in our mind so that we can be transformed.
yeah,
So with that being said, I basically, when I come, forward with giving people information, I definitely try to make sure that people understands that it starts with your mind first. It
yeah,
starts with your mind first. I cannot say that enough. But when we're disclosing information to the public, it gets to be very, 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 as a healthcare professional now, I'm speaking
yeah,
from a healthcare professional standpoint,
yeah.
it gets to be very, 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 I guess I would say more so not annoying, but burdensome, because there are
It's
so many
annoying.
people. Yes,
It is.
it's annoying, to your healthcare professional
Right.
that we lay out, as in, a plan for you, and then we give you that guidance, and then you just choose to
Yeah,
refuse to do what you were
yeah,
advised to
yeah,
do.
yeah.
And then guess what? You end up sick. And guess what you want everybody else to do then? You want everybody to come and sit down and pray with you. You want everybody to come and sit down and hold your hand.
And you
Woe
didn't
is
do what you're
me.
supposed to do.
Oh, woe is me. Woe
Right.
is me. And here we are. So
Yeah,
that right there, that just becomes to get on people's nerves,
you're right.
sometimes. So with, most of the time, when you're speaking to the mind of a thing, it is actually so very hard because people are challenged there first in their health. So when we talk about this medicinal mindset, we want to encourage people as healthcare professionals. We want to make sure that you understand that your body is like a machine,
Yeah,
and basically, when I was in school, when I was learning about the body, when I had to learn the different parts of the body, I
yeah.
actually broke the body down like a car. My daddy was what they call a shade tree mechanic. I know some
Right.
of y'all know those.
Yeah. Right, 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 right.
So when I was a little girl, I would sit there and watch my daddy work on that Ford, and I sit there and watch him. So as I began to
Yeah,
grow and as I began to learn in medicine, I learned that actually the body is just like a vehicle.
that's
And
true.
it just like the heart. The heart is a pump, right? So in
Yeah,
the heart, what's in the car? It's a motor.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
it's what keeps the car going. So
yeah.
it's just like, for instance, I'm not gonna disclose my age. I'm 21 in my mind, but hey, you know,
But that's
it's
that's
just
part
like
of
in
that
my
mindset, though.
Right. That's a mindset. That's a
Yeah,
mindset.
it's funny you say that because I get on people all the time that be talking about they old and they this and they begin to act like it because it's
No,
in
no,
their
no.
mind. You
It
can't
starts
do
right
that.
here.
It start
It
right
starts
here.
right here.
That's what we
Hey,
talking
you
about.
might feel it. You might
Right,
feel it in your body.
right,
But
right.
this is what's saying
It
right
start
here.
right
I ain't
here.
got that
Right.
ache. I ain't got that ache. I
That's
ain't hurt.
right. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
mean,
So
but that's good. You right about it, and it's important for us to just like you were saying with the car. The car takes maintenance. You gotta get that oil
it
change.
does.
You gotta get
It
that
does.
oil change. You gotta change those filters. You gotta do all this kind of stuff to that car. And our
Absolutely.
bodies are the same way in terms of maintaining it. So
Mhm.
let me ask this question because I'm a man.
Uh-oh.
All right,
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
and
Am I ready? Let me see.
right,
Let me hold on. Let me see.
right. Now, it's not gonna be bad. It's not gonna be bad. So, but I know that us brothers out here don't like to go to the doctor.
Oh
Yeah.
yes.
And I don't understand that mindset. So, is there a study out or anything to say why the brothers may not want to do the maintenance like we supposed to compared to the females?
Okay. Well, that's a great question. I'm glad you asked that, Leroy. But what is the most important observation in all of what you just said
Yeah,
is that men, they're used to being providers, right?
yeah,
They're used to being the ones to fix things.
that's right.
So they're used to being the
Yep.
ones to protecting things. So usually when a person is in that type of a role, they generally do not necessarily try to think about themselves.
Right, right,
So
right.
a lot of times when you're dealing with that kind of aspect, especially when you're talking about our culture and our
Yeah,
social demographic of people,
yep.
we just, our brothers, they just don't want to hear it. They'd rather not know. And that is a very dangerous type of condition that we allow ourselves to be in,
Mm,
and it kind of disturbs me deeply because I have known a lot of brothers, that I have maybe given advice to. Say, for instance, they're having chest pain, and I say, hey, take your aspirin and go immediately to the emergency room. And I find out, I call them to check on them, and guess what? They never went. Oh, I feel
yeah,
better after I
yeah,
took the aspirin. Duh.
yeah.
You're gonna feel better after you took the aspirin because it opened up your vessels a little bit,
Right,
and you feeling
right.
better because now you got more blood flow back to the heart because that's
Yeah,
just one of the things that most of our African American males that they're suffering with. Now, who's leading it is the African American woman. They're leading
yeah,
us in heart disease now. But as far as the gentleman is concerned, let me just say this, brothers.
yeah.
Leroy, what aggravates me the most about
What's
that
that? What's
is
that?
our brothers can be having deductions taken out of their income, right? Their checks.
Yeah,
They're paying hundreds and hundreds of dollars
my insurance.
for
Yeah,
this insurance
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and never in
And
their
then they
life
go to
have
the doctor. Yeah,
never have even had a regular checkup.
yeah,
And I'm like,
yeah,
what is wrong with you? You're
yeah.
giving people money for nothing. So, hey, if you're not going to give them the money, go ahead on and take that money that you're spending on a healthcare plan and invest it into a burial policy because
Oh
that's what's going
Lord.
to do. And I have really seriously had to
Right.
literally
That's
tell some people that way,
that's
just
true
to get them
though.
to understand. But the mindset, like we were talking about, the mindset in that, to be on a serious note, brothers, they are kind of afraid of what they're going to find out when they're there. It's more so that they are more afraid. I don't want to know if it's something going on. I don't want to know. And
Yeah,
let's just deal with the brothers on this subject. The rooty tooty. Okay.
yeah, yeah,
Y'all know
yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
talking
yeah,
about.
yeah,
They get
yeah.
so scared about that prostate exam.
Uh-oh.
And
Did
brothers,
she
if you
go out
are
on us?
watching,
Hold on, hopefully.
listen to me.
Okay.
Medicine has come so much further. They
Yeah,
can actually take a sample from your blood and find out if your markers are high or not. And then if they actually see that that is a problem, then they will actually have to do the manual exam. So a lot of times, we get into the gray areas of, well, I don't want to know if it is something wrong. Well, that is so ignorant.
yeah,
That is
yeah,
so ignorant. That is
yeah,
so much bondage
yeah,
wrapped up in it.
yeah,
And I really, honestly, Leroy, I have never read any true studies about our culture
yeah,
as into why brothers are that way, as into our culture,
yeah,
social demographic
yeah.
background. But I mean, man, it's just brother, what are you doing? Go to the doctor, get your checkup, get your lip your lipids checked, because what people don't understand about lipids is a form of fat, okay? But that's not the only type of foreign material
Yeah.
that's flowing in your blood. You
Yeah.
have other blood particles, you have some bacteria that may be in there, you have some other parts of the cells that may be flowing in the blood. But what happens when we have that extra high cholesterol, those extra lipids in that blood, it
Yeah.
actually it hits the side of the walls of the vessels, and then it gets stuck there. Some particles do, and then it starts to get hard. And once that part gets hard, once that blood starts to rush back through there again, guess what
Yeah.
happens? Boom. Next thing you know, a piece of that particle that's inside of that artery begins to break off. And the next thing you know, you're either having what? A clot to the heart,
Yeah.
which is a heart attack,
Yeah.
or a clot to the brain, which is a stroke, or a clot thrown into your lungs, which is a pulmonary embolism, which is a clot in your lungs. So they're a very, very high risk, that we just take, and I just don't understand it, but
Yeah.
hey.
It is. It is. But you said something earlier, and I didn't know that that women right now are leading. African
Yes,
women are
yes,
leading heart disease.
yes.
Really?
Let me explain that. Women are leading in heart disease, and it's more so because guess what? We are the demographic of women who are single mothers.
Yeah.
We're working a full-time job, and I'm telling you, it is a lot of stress in that alone. In just those two hats, being a single mother and working a full-time job. So guess what happens? Our stress levels increase.
Yeah.
Our
Yeah. Yeah.
pain increases.
Yeah.
And once those things start to happen, there are things that actually happens in your body that responds to stress. And more than likely, and actually now, women are leading in heart disease, and it's African American women in general. And that to me is it's a unfortunate circumstance, but that's just the truth, and that's just what we are, right now as the nation, as a people.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And that's interesting because I never thought about that, but it does bring up what we're talking about in terms of our mindset and how we should not get so stressed and
yes,
hold on to the burdens of life and everything that's hitting us, because not only is it affecting us emotionally, but it's
mm-hmm.
starting to affect us physically. And
Yes,
we have to change that mindset to be able to kind of balance
yeah,
things.
to balance it out.
Balance.
and
Go ahead.
And which you're saying that, Leroy, I found out that what we think is what we become.
Yes, yes,
You
yes.
know,
Say that one more
and
time.
okay, I will. Thank
Yeah,
you. What we think
yeah, yeah,
is what we become,
yeah,
and there is so much proven science behind that.
yeah,
And you could think all day long that I'm having this pain here, or I don't feel good, or I'm tired,
yes,
I'm
yes,
stressed, the cheering getting on my nerve, this
yes.
man over here working my last nerve, and I just don't know what I'm gonna do with him. If he called me one more time, I'm gonna go to the left. you
Yeah,
know
yeah,
so it's those type of things that we bring in internally, and we actually are more so good at as a people. We're actually very good internalizers, and that's not good,
yeah,
because we hold things in.
yeah,
And once we begin to do that, the next thing you know that's gonna happen, guess what's gonna happen? You gonna blow
yeah,
up.
yeah, yeah,
You gonna hold that stuff in, and then the next thing you know, you're gonna blow up, and then everybody gonna be looking at you crazy like, Lord, what in the world? We just said that you could have probably been on time this time,
right,
because you always late.
right,
And then
right.
you don't went to the left.
You didn't
You
went home to the left.
you went to the left.
Yeah,
And people are not realizing that, you may be withholding a lot of things within, but listen, that is not good for your health. And I'm actually gonna actually disclose this here. I have actually watched, it was on Netflix, and it was called
mhm,
Secrets, I believe, but it was talking about the laws of attraction. And it's a kind of an old little piece,
yeah,
as it pertains to theatrical parts, but
mhm,
they began to talk about the metaphysical science parts, about the laws of attraction, and how what we what we think we are,
Yeah,
what I
I
just
saw
said,
that.
what we think we
Yep, yep,
become. I
yep.
actually listened to that and heard that on that actual, clip. So it was actually very mind renewing for me. So to those of you who are watching, if you're wanting to learn more about, hey, I'm really just by nature just a negative thinker. I think the worst. The first thing that happens, I think the worst. And then even with me being a healthcare professional, Leroy, it's hard. I'm gonna tell you right now. If you marry a nurse, if you marry a doctor,
Right.
if you marry anybody in the healthcare profession, you could say, "Oh, my toe hurt." And they're gonna be like, "Oh Lord, you might have cancer." so, so be careful out there with that part. But a lot of times, too much knowledge can actually hinder you as well.
I understand that. I definitely understand that, and I believe it's this is scriptural. It's whatever we speak into existence.
Yeah.
That's what becomes. So we
Or
got to
what a
be
man
careful.
thinks, so is he. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have to be careful what we speak out our mouths, and and what we say, because it starts affecting us. But let's jump into things like compliance versus non-compliance, and
Oh Lord.
if you can kind
You
of
finna open up. You opened up a bucket of worms, right?
yeah,
You know
let's
that,
open
don't
up the bucket of worms. And let's kind of jump into that and inform the people about compliance and non-compliance. But go ahead.
All right, y'all, check this out. You have a doctor's visit. You go into the doctor's visit,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
You already mad because you don't waited 2 hours in the waiting room, and you
right.
think the nurse and the doctor are back there just playing, but they're actually not. They're waiting on test results. They're back there
Yeah,
ordering labs. They're back there dealing with people who are actually been discharged, but they just want to stay back there and talk to Doctor such and such just
yeah,
because they want to see how his children doing and how his
yeah,
wife doing.
yeah,
And
yeah,
you're trying to push him out the door, and you don't want to be rude, but let's just get that out there, that scenario. Well,
yeah,
you get to the back, and it's finally your turn. And here comes the doctor. Okay, well, you have a high cholesterol level, Mr. Jones, Jane Doe. We want to just tell you that we're going to maybe put you on this particular low cholesterol diet.
yeah,
You like, oh, great. I don't have to take a pill. I don't have to take medicine. Oh, yeah, okay, I can do that. Yeah, you say that when you're in the doctor's office.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
You get out the doctor's office, you're hungry.
yeah,
They
yeah,
just
yeah.
told you need a low cholesterol diet, and you said, "Well, I'm just gonna do this one time. I'm gonna go over here to Whataburger and give me a big old fat burger right there,
Right.
for the last time.
For the
Lord,
last time.
I'm just gonna do it for the vine. I'm just gonna do it for the vine. One more time, Lord, before I have to hit this low
Right, right, right,
cholesterol
right,
diet."
right, right,
So
right.
guess what happens? You don't realize that when you do that, you're actually operating in a form of rebellion, against advice. And then next thing you know, you haven't changed your diet, and then you end up in the doctor's office again.
Yeah,
And guess what happens? You're in there because of chest pain as a result of not controlling your high cholesterol diet. And
yeah,
then the next thing you know, you're on the brink of a massive heart attack. And now, if you would have just used something in a diet form, as far as controlled and disciplined yourself,
yeah,
as what you're putting in your mouth, you would not have had these $10,000s of hospital bills
yeah, yeah,
that now you have, because you don't had to have a stress test, you don't had to have an echocardiogram, you don't had to have all these referrals, and now you mad when actuality you were just non-compliant.
yeah,
And
yeah.
we don't want to deal with that. As the people, Leroy, we don't want to hear that side. We don't want to be responsible to that.
That's
We don't want
true.
to be like, oh, well, the doctor told me, but I didn't do it. It's always like, well, that doctor didn't tell me all that. It ain't tell me with that serious. They just
Yeah,
told me when I
yeah,
went up in there, I was just gonna have to have this type of diet. And I did. I ate my vegetables. I mean, but I had to put a little salt on it because it was nasty. So I'm just telling you,
yeah.
Leroy, with the type of stuff.
No,
I don't
it's
know what y'all
true.
see up there in Connecticut now. I'm
Yeah,
just saying what I'm
look,
saying. But
that's
this is what we
that's
see
all over.
down here in the SIP.
Yeah, and I think that's what we're talking about with mindset. You know what to do.
You know.
You know what to do, and it's really comes down to a discipline thing.
It does.
And I think a lot of our people are lacking to balance the mindset of I want to do it and actually
Mm-hmm.
putting it into practice and making a discipline uh, of,
Mm-hmm.
or putting a discipline, well, let's call it a new lifestyle into place.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right.
And so, we have to figure out how to get our people to understand that. You have to be
Yes.
disciplined, and it's not that you can't enjoy some of those things every once in a while,
Right.
but you got to change the lifestyle.
You do, you do. And speaking to that lifestyle aspect, like we said in the beginning, one of the hardest battles is the battle in the mind. We know Joyce Myers wrote
Yeah,
books on that and had a lot of theological things to say on that. But I don't necessarily want to keep beating a dead horse
yeah,
when we're dealing with actual real phenomenons, because I'm a realist. I don't
yeah,
know about some of your audience, panel.
yeah, yeah,
I don't know if they are the way that I am, but I'm just a realist. And with that, I just try to make sure that when you're dealing with actual truths, that
yeah,
you deal with both sides of the token.
yeah,
So let's deal with the other side of the token, which is something that I'm actually not proud of because I am in the healthcare profession, but I am seeing this new trend. Okay.
mhm,
And it's starting to bother me when we're talking about non-compliance and versus compliance. Now let's break that down for the people who may be a little lost.
yeah,
Okay, non-compliance means that you are giving some instructions, and then necessarily you kind of negate from them. You do what you add your own things to it, and you take away things from it.
yeah,
Or either I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna do it when I want to do it, or I'm gonna do
yeah,
it this way.
yeah,
And like we always have heard, any type of disobedience is disobedience, no matter, even if you're following the instructions just a little bit. But to add to that, compliance is just simply you are doing what's asked of you
yeah,
to be done.
yeah,
And those are the actual layman's terms for that. So when we're talking about that on the other side of the token, I gave the example of the young people that may come
yeah,
in and they may be given a second chance, with their lifestyle to be able to take care of it that way. Well, let's flip the other side of that coin. Now we're dealing with something, and I don't want to get ahead of myself, but now we're dealing with something in the healthcare profession that I'm actually wanting to be more of an advocate for.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And what I mean is, I want to make sure that we're starting to get back as healthcare professionals, that we start to get back to patient education.
yeah, yeah.
What happens, let me ask you, for example, Leroy, just to give people an example, and you and I have not previously talked about this, but you've
Oh,
been to the
don't put me on
doctor,
the spot.
right? You've
Yeah,
been to the doctor. I know you
yeah,
better
yeah.
have been to the doctor.
Oh, you know that.
Right. Okay. Well, you're getting a checkup, right? Well, when they come in, say for instance, they want to tell you to take a vitamin. So if they tell you about a vitamin, what do, Leroy? They just give you what? They just give you what? They just tell you, hey, I'm just going to give you this little bit here. And I'm going to tell you that you need to get this type of vitamin. And I'm going to let you know you need to get this type of vitamin. And once you get that type of information, as far as it pertains vitamins, the next thing you know, they're out the door. They have just told you, what you want to do. They have just said to you, get this vitamin, get that vitamin, and then they're out the door. So what ends up happening is no one is there anymore to sit with the patient and say, hey, do you understand what this medicine is? Do you understand the side effects to this medicine? If this happens to you, I want you to stop taking this medicine and call us immediately. If you have any questions, I want you to pick up the phone right away and call us, and we're going to get back to you within 2 hours. Those are the types of things that are now, they're declining in the actual healthcare field. And what is causing a lot of problems and a lot of premature death is that people are not being educated, Leroy. They're just not
Yeah,
being
yeah, yeah,
given the information that they need to be given from the beginning,
yeah.
and that kind of causes a lot of problems as well.
I'm sorry, my internet had dropped, so I had went out.
Oh, okay. Oh, bless you, God. That's the internet demon I call it.
Yeah,
He
it's a
binds
bad
you.
demon. I don't know
He
what's going on.
binds you.
Let me
We're
say this.
gonna get this information to the people. We're gonna get this
Right,
information
we're
to
gonna get
people.
it to people. Let me say this. So it was funny you was talking about me being in the doctor. So when I was I was in my 20s, but I was younger. They said I had high cholesterol.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so they put me on a medicine.
Mm,
So they did educate me about the medicine. They just said, okay, you need to take this.
mm,
So I found that medicine had my stomach hurting every single day. When I say
mm,
every single day, it was hurt every single day. So I went back to the doctor and I said, okay, well, how long do I have to be on these meds? And so the doctor said, for the rest of your life.
The devil is a lie.
The devil is a lie. But I want to talk about.
I think I'm losing you, Leroy. Can you hear me?
Are you there? That demon.
Okay, I'm there. I had a little interruption, but I'm there.
Okay, so I made an effort to change my life, to change my eating style, to make sure that I did not have to take that medicine anymore. And I don't know if people realize that there's natural ways to solve problems in our bodies that we do not, and we're not going to give advice, but we do not have to take those medicines that could be causing other issues in our body.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now I'm glad you said that, because that is a great point that you bring to the forefront. Like what I was saying, when I first came out of school 20 years ago, they were, on us like, white on rice. You have got to do patient education. You have got to educate your patient. If your patient is about to go through a procedure, you need to make sure you educate them. If they are about to take a medicine, you need to make sure that they have all the side effects, they know the side effects, and that they know to call and report it to you. And then, you have to document all those things. Well, now everything is in the computer. When you go to the pharmacy, even the pharmacists act like they get an attitude when you ask them, okay, can you tell me about this medicine? They looking at you like you don't went to school for 10 years. You have this pharmacy title behind your name, this MD behind your name. They're looking at the customer and the patient. Like, what you asking me that for? I'm sitting here like, I'm sitting here now, me, I'm witnessing this, because I may be standing in Walgreens or Sam's or something, trying to get my medicine. I'm sitting there looking at how they dealt with the patient. Then a lot of times, I will, just because my heart, for advocacy, a lot of times, especially if it's one of, our demographic of people, our culture, because our elderly people, they get so overlooked. And not to get off subject with that, but just to get back to what you were saying, a lot of times someone such as young as you were, in my discretion, I would have never advised you to get on medication at that age. You are a young man. If you were not that overweight, which you're not overweight at all. You're I would have looked at your BMI. I would have looked at what your lifestyle was. I would have discussed with you what type of diet are you eating the most. Then a lot of times, if they take the time to sit with the patients and actually find out these things, those are the types of things that medicine is missing now. And that is exactly the type of attitudes and behaviors that are keeping people out of doctors' offices, because they don't want to be dealt with that way. And that is actually a problem. And I am and when I first came out, like I said, we were on paper, we wrote everything down, and we had to make sure we documented, because if you didn't document it, you didn't do it in my world. So now we have transitioned into this new technology world, and we are running amok, running amok with losing so many patients. We're losing a lot of having a lot of premature deaths, not necessarily because it was just a patient, they were non-compliant and they didn't do what they were supposed to do. No, we're losing a lot of people because we're babysitting computers, and we're not using our critical thinking, our cognitive skills that we were trained to do in nursing and medical school. I can look at a person, Leroy, from the head to the toe, and I can just about, probably after being in the medicine as long as I have, I can tell you just about if they were having any kind of problems or complications or any type of issues. I could tell you exactly what those issues are, because I have been trained with my eye and with my mind, and I think and I cognitively and I do critical thinking. And now we have people, and another thing, which and I don't want to keep going on and on about it, but another thing that's really hindering patient education is nurses. They're so overworked, they're so understaffed. They are exhausted. They have not had anything to eat, and it's 2 or 3 o'clock in the daytime. So then you get to running into those issues of, what, this right here is just not going to work for me. And people just won't come back. And
Yeah.
then the next thing you know, they're sitting at home and needing a refill on their blood pressure medicine. But they're like, I'm not going to go sit in the doctor's office again just for somebody to come in there for 2 seconds with me after I've sat in the waiting area for 2 hours.
Yeah.
I'm not dealing with that. And
Yeah.
to speak to the holistic side of medicine, to what you were saying about making sure that we are doing things that we know that we can do within ourselves. You know, Big Mama, my dear, and Grandmama and them made it. They made it
Yeah, they
on a
did.
whole lot of wisdoms.
Yeah, they did.
Let me give you an example. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm from Mississippi. Okay.
Yeah.
My grandmother was part Indian. Okay. My dad's mother. And with that being said, I was a little girl. I got the chicken pox. Okay.
Yeah.
You know, back then we didn't have the immunization for that to produce immunity.
Yeah.
Grandmama went outside, got some pine straw,
Yeah.
rinsed it off. She checked me out of school. They made me go home. The teacher told her, well, Miss Pooh, she will not be able to be back until she has all of her sores broke out and they're all scabbed over and she's been fever free, you know, for at least 24 hours.
Right.
That was like a Monday or a Tuesday. My grandmother said she'll be back by Friday.
All right. She knew what to do.
She's not gonna miss that much class.
Yeah.
Said, you know, Grandmama, she's not gonna miss that much lesson.
Yeah.
She's not gonna miss that much lesson.
That's right.
And so the lady was like, well, you know, this is the routine of what's going on. And she was like, okay. So she listened to it. She said, okay.
Yeah.
Leroy, my grandmama took me home. She went out and got that pine straw. She rinsed it. That, you know, old folks say they rinsed. They rinsed it off. They rinsed that pine straw. I saw grandmama go in the kitchen, and the next thing I knew, she had a cup, brought this like this to me with some concoction and made me drink it. And it was the worst thing that I had ever tasted in my life. But by the next few hours, all of those boils the infection began to come out of my body.
Yeah. So let's talk about this. Yeah, because right, let's talk about this because somebody made a comment. They said Miss Dee made a comment, said environment plays a huge influence on someone's health behavior. So does down south food that is unhealthy surround them all the time. So social environments, you know, your environment in terms of, you know, the household, just like you was in that household, that would always stay with you.
Right.
So how does your environment play a role in your total health? And
now, what and environments, you when you're thinking about environments, what I'm thinking that she's speaking to as well is there are two different types when you're talking about environments. When you hear it as a healthcare professional, you're talking about the environment like the things in the world, like pollution, the fog, the smog, the things in the air. They do affect us. You know, I don't know if they're or anyone is on here that believes in chemtrails and you know those types of things that people call conspiracies, you know, because there's so many things are being dropped in the air and you know, I don't want to get into all of that because I there's not any proof in it, but I'm gonna say this to you. There is some substance in it. Now they may not have any, like they say, scientific evidence-based, you know, practices on it. But I'm gonna tell you something. There is some truth in the matter to that because it's toxic. That's one part of the environment. And then, like she's asking, which what I believe is, you know, and like we go back to the mindset in the home, like here down south.
Yeah.
I noticed that when I came up north, I didn't see a Popeyes.
Yeah.
I didn't see Popeyes.
Yeah.
You know, fried chicken.
Yeah.
I just did.
It's here now.
Like,
it's here now.
Wait a minute now. I want some chicken. Leroy, I want some fried chicken. I think so. You're freezing up again, but I'm gonna keep talking just to see. Okay, there we go. Yeah. But to speak to what she was saying, that is so true, and it's so important that we make sure that we keep our environments whole and clean. And a lot of things too. We have as a people, we have got to stop reaching for medicine for the first thing every time.
Yeah.
We got to stop doing that. You know, the very first thing, I got an ache. I'm going to take Tylenol. No.
Yeah.
Slow down, sit down, and think about what kind of ache is this? And then ask yourself, what have I done? Did I strain myself? Have I been pushing around furniture? You know, did I pick up the baby and baby was a little too big for me? Have I been out here in the yard, you know, mowing the grass? You know, slow down and think. And guess what? It may be a muscle pain. If it's something such as that, guess what you can do? get you a heating pad. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
you don't always have to take stuff by mouth. And I'm gonna just explain this to people real quick. Medicine, we are taught in school, okay? And the public, a lot of people, if you have not had any pharmacology classes or you have not had any type of advanced pharmacology classes, Leroy, medicine in itself, any type of medicine is toxic. It's a poison.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
poison.
Yes.
It's poison.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it to make anyone deter from their regular medication regimen. But what I am going to open your mind to is this. You have to be careful, especially with your loved ones. If you are seeing that your loved one is going to the doctor and the doctor is constantly adding a new pill. Next thing you know, they got a new pill. They go back to the doctor, they got a new pill. They got one to bring you up, they got one to bring you down. They got one to help you get up, they got one to help you go to sleep. A lot of that is dangerous. And when you're talking about a mindset, what does big mama or grandmama do when she goes to the doctor's office? She listens to her doctor. She said, okay, thank you. And she go right to the pharmacy and she gets those medicines. Then the nurse might have been taking the time to say, okay, Mrs. Jones, you need to stop this pill you're taking, and because we want to put you on this new pill.
Yeah.
Okay? And then the next thing you know, grandma is falling, constantly falling. She's dizzy. She's not understanding what's going on. And the family is like, what's going on with grandma? Well, grandmama is now, instead of taking one blood pressure medicine, she's taking two because nobody sat down to tell grandma, stop taking this medicine. Yeah. This was for your blood pressure too, but you need to stop taking this one, and we're going to put you on this new one because we want to make sure that we're doing what's best for you. Medicines are toxic, okay? I'm not discouraging anybody in the aspect of stop following your medication regimen, okay? You make sure you follow your medication regimen as you should. But what I am saying is this. We have to be careful with how much medicine we are allowing ourselves to intake. The only organs that we have that helps break down the components of medication is our liver and our stomachs and our kidneys. If we are on 20-something pills a day, your liver is working overtime to detox, because what the liver's job is to actually do, it takes out everything that's toxic that you put in your mouth. It cleanses it. It breaks down the toxins in it, and then it pushes it through the gut. The gut breaks it down even further, and once the blood gets a hold to it, it takes out everything that it needs to do in the bloodstream. Then your kidneys, once it gets to that area of the body, you end up excreting, which either by having a BM or having urine, that it releases all of the rest of whatever toxic parts of the medicine that your body just didn't need. So that's something that I think could be another discussion for another show.
No,
that is very important that people know that, you know.
Yeah. So we have somebody who wants to come in and I guess ask a question. I'm gonna invite Miss Tammy in. Let's see. She just hey, how you doing?
Y'all doing? God bless you. You talk like me, girl.
Oh, thank you.
I'm from West Virginia. But anyway, this is like amazing. You know, I wanted to bring up a point. You were talking about high blood pressure, things like that, and pills. And it was a few years ago. One thing that happened to me, I didn't know what it was. It was a kidney stone. It was like that big.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. I thought I was getting ready out of here. And so I was even trying to drive. I fell out. The pain was so bad. So finally I had to go and I had surgery. They had to break it to get it out. And one thing that I can't do anymore is processed food. I can't eat it. And it was just, you know, people really got to hear this. And then another thing, I was in a situation, Pastor know I kind of touched on it on one of his other shows. And I was in a situation, and the situation, I thought I was it was a situation. It was a situational. You know, I had situational high blood pressure.
Oh my goodness.
But I didn't know what was happening to me. And I woke up and I called out. I'm not one to call out for work. And I was getting ready literally to have a light stroke. And my doctor was just like, oh, she started hugging me and crying. That was before COVID-19.
wow.
You know, and
Wow.
and she said, if you don't, she said, one or two things is going to happen. She said, if you don't exercise, and she gave me this thing, there's all these foods to eat and not to eat. She said, I'm going to put you on the pill. She said, I don't like putting people on pills.
Right.
She said, you need to disconnect, you know, and exercise. And when I did that, what you said was situational. And also people I'm adding to y'all's conversation. Sometimes we just got to disconnect from, you know, people in general, always negative. That gets in you and it changes your mindset, because it does start with the mind. And when it starts with the mind, it regulates your heart, you know. And right, I'm telling you, this is so powerful, because I started walking. It's been going on my second year. And when I started walking, I was never this big at that time when I started. I was always, I give you size, I was always a 6'8" forever. But I end up being a size 14. That's big. I'm little. And then I started walking and doing stuff, and I'm preacher and ministering, doing it. And I done went from that size to like a 10. And over here, because I changed the way I eat. I don't eat pork. I don't eat beef. I eat a lot. You're right. I eat fish, and I eat very few, little bit of chicken. But I juice and I do other things like make veggie smoothies and all that stuff. It's important that we do this. And I say it all the time. And I'm back in the gym, so I'm lifting. I'm lifting, bro.
All right.
You know, I didn't know I was lifting. I was lifting 30 pounds. And I'm saying 15, but each thing is 30. I'm lifting it, man. I'm on Facebook. You see me. I'm pulling that thing. I feel great because I changed. You know, I have to have a balance. And I'm so glad you're doing this. You have to have a balance, man. I'm telling you. Some people are maybe all that I said it this morning, covering all up. But then when you take it all off, you just like sick. You know, you have to do the right thing. This is so important. It has to be a part two to this.
Well, we definitely gonna get her back on the air and talk. Yeah, because it's so much. We need to get down our list.
It has to, because you gotta get it in here. You have to, man. I feel like, oh my God, I feel like I can do anything.
Thank you, Miss Tammy, so much for that. That was so energetic and so powerful.
Thank you.
What you just shared. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm proud of you. If nobody else have said anything to you about
absolutely,
that, I am.
You know what they said? You know what somebody said to me? Can I say it? I'm gonna say it anyway. You know, somebody called me up talking about you was showing your sex. I'm like, sexy. I'm like, when you look sexy working out, I was sweating. But longer because my stomach chill. I bent over and they saw a little bit of my little belly. But they don't know when I show it for real, I'm gonna have my six pack back.
There you go.
Okay. You know, I am. And said I was showing my shoulders. That's not proper for a pastor. I saw you showing your shoulders. I saw you doing that, Reverend. But they ain't gonna say nothing to you.
All right, well, we gotta move on. Thank you for doing us. Appreciate you, Tammy. Appreciate you. But it's so true. It's so true what she said. Like, you know, exercise is so important. Us putting ourselves on our own regimen in terms of eating healthy, making sure that, you know, we put in healthy things in our body. So, you know, we got about 10 minutes left. What kind of things can people do to do preventive care in terms of what should we be doing every day and to make sure that we are staying healthy?
Okay, great question. Miss Tammy, thank you again for that, because Miss Tammy actually mentioned some great things that you can do. And I'm gonna just elaborate on them, hit on them real quick. Well, in medicine, what we have to begin to understand is, like I said in the beginning, the body is like a machine. If you think that way, then you will understand how it operates. Well, Miss Tammy actually hit on something that's really good, which what she said, juicing. Okay.
Yeah.
Juicing is a actual great way to detox the body. Juicing is what people do when they actually take some fruits and things, and they might have some additives in it, and they make them a little smoothie like type drink. Well, what actually happens is it's a lot of minerals and vitamins that are in that one cup that our bodies need. Say for instance, magnesium. People may not know, the actual lay person may not know, but magnesium plays a key role in the conductivity of your heart. It plays a key role with how your heart pumps and acts. Then as well as potassium. So, we have to keep those things in perspective. And then as far as cleansing the body, the stomach, the gut lining, a lot of people, they do not cleanse, or even with fasting, they never fast, then the next thing you know, they're having all this joint pain, or they having all these problems. Well, a few observations that I have had here of late, Leroy, I started to look at myself probably about right up, my son is 8. So probably about when he was about 4 or 5, I was holding on to that weight that I could not get rid of for some reason. Of course, and I'm older, so I was like, well, that's part of the reason. Well, I was actually a hospice nurse, so I was in the car. I was going to people's homes, getting in and out, eating fast food, this, that, and the other. Well, long story short, I ended up being the biggest I had ever been in my life, about 267 pounds. Okay. Wow. Almost 300 pounds.
Wow.
I was so exhausted, so fatigued, had so much joint pain. I was literally miserable. Well, I then realized that I had to make small changes. The doctor, all they said was just start out slow. You can't go out there and run a marathon. You may not even can't do a mile, but the doctor said it's not about the distance, is just about how long you consistently do things every day.
Yeah.
So just 10 minutes a day. If you can only handle 10 minutes a day of walking, a brisk walk where you just get your heart up, of course, do that. Juicing, that's a great way. It helps cleanse the body. It helps cleanse the vessels. Pomegranate juice is a wonderful juice that helps cleanse the vessels. Then as well, another thing, I'm going to hit on this because I want to make sure, because of our African-American culture, I want to make sure that we are doing things as far as preventative first, because we need to know this. And one thing that I want you all to hear is, if you're suffering from a lot of joint pain and you're fatigued all the time and you have like this foggy kind of brain, you're just too tired, can't think straight. Well, you need to take some vitamin D3, and not D2, D3. I learned this when I worked under a physician that was a pain treatment doctor. A lot of people will come in with joint pain, and us being African Americans, we're not the typical sunbathers. We're not going to lay out in the sun and get a tan. So we're not going to get that main source of vitamin D. Next, we're actually going to not eat a lot of cheese or dairy products, because we have lactose. A lot of times we're intolerant to the lactose or lactate that's in the actual dairy products. So we're not getting that vitamin D3 on board. Well, we need to take vitamin D3. Vitamin D3 has been proven in studies for tumor prevention. So if it's a tumor, we know that prevents cancer. And then it actually improves joint pain. If you are having a lot of joint pains and you just don't know why, have the doctor check your vitamin D3 level. If you're in a funk all the time, you're tired, your mood shifts, you feel like you're almost depressed as you don't know what, those are key indicators that you just might have a vitamin D deficiency. And if you're going to do the vitamin D supplement, you need to make sure you're taking calcium as well, because calcium helps push the vitamin D3 on down into the bones. Okay. Because that's what needs to happen.
Can I ask you this? I've heard, I don't know how true it is, the vitamin 3 also helps prevent breast cancer.
D3?
Yeah.
Yes, the reason they're saying this because they're finding out. They did a study I read once before. I was at Mississippi State for a convention, and they did a study that I read, and they did a study in some mice and rats. And what actually happened is, once they did a study with giving the vitamin D3 consistently, they realized that those mice or rats that had the tumors, they actually either shrunk in size or they dissolved.
Wow.
So that's what that means is, when people are saying that it helps with your actual intake, prevention as far as cancer, then you need to make sure that you have enough vitamin D3 on board. And anything that we may be lacking, we may be lacking anything, but tumor prevention, yes. Diet. When you hear diet, people a lot of times say, I don't want to go on a strict diet. I ain't trying to diet. It's not that. I like to use the word called modification. I stopped eating pork over 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I noticed I was having all these skin breakouts, and every time I ate pork, I would hurt. I would be just uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I didn't realize it until I kept a diary on a journal. I kept it. And I started keeping me a food journal. And that's when I realized that every time I ate pork, I had a migraine. I got sick. I didn't feel good. And I had all these skin rashes. And I laid off of it. Oh my goodness, that was the hardest thing I ever had to do, because down south, I love some bacon, and I love my greens with some hog maws and ham hocks. Okay, smoked turkey. I mean, I loved it. So I had to modify. That's why I said I like to use the word modification. So instead of the actual ham hock and pork, putting it in my greens, I use smoked turkey wings or smoked turkey necks or some kind of smoked turkey.
Yeah.
So those are the little things that you can do.
Yeah. And so I know for me, like I try to start my day off with, I have this, I sell these products, but I have this celery drink I drink.
Oh yeah.
Because celery helps with bloating and all. What else?
It's good for the gut. It's good for the gut.
So when
it's
you said that,
a lot of fiber.
Right, and then I drink a greens, which has like the celery in it, the kale, the spinach, all that kind of stuff. And then I have a berry one that has the pomegranate. It has the cranberry and all those kind of good berries in it. And when I say it makes a difference in my energy level, and in terms of you're not as gassy, your food is digesting better and all that kind of good stuff. It's amazing. It's amazing. It really is amazing. So it's so true that there's so many things that we can do to do preventive work, so we don't have to go to the doctor. And if you can just touch on this before we leave, also, with technology now, people are not able to get into the doctor like they used to, especially with this COVID situation. And doctors are kind of pushing you through, or we do a Zoom call. They can't touch you. They're not doing the test like they need to do. And we laughed yesterday. We called him Dr. Google. Has become the doctor. If you can just touch on that a little bit before we go off the air.
Okay. I'll be glad to. Listen, y'all, Google is the worst place you can go. I ain't gonna say the worst. I'm gonna say this. You can use it for a reference, but when you're looking into anything that it pertains to your health, make sure that you are reading journals or articles, such, those things that are primarily, they have had a long study. When you see something that says evidence-based practice, okay, or when you see a long-term clinical study that has proven, okay, when you see that there have been trials done on these types of things, that's what you want to read. WebMD, garbage, okay? All those types of things. And then you get the patients, they come and say, well, Google said I had this sign and I got this. That is the worst thing
Google said
to your provider. That is the absolute worst thing you can say to your provider, because what they're going to do is they're going to shut you out and be like, oh, Lord. Because they're going to be sitting up thinking, there's nothing that I can say because Dr. Google got it now. So there's nothing that I can do to convince you away from Dr. Google. But please, y'all, at all costs, you may use Google as a reference, okay, where you can go into and find those articles that have been proven, that show evidence-based practice, and that have had long clinical trials or studies done, okay? Those are the types of things you want to look to when you're thinking about your health, when you're looking for advice for your health. Okay, so look, grab a hold to me on Go Grace on Facebook. I have all types of ways for you to get in touch with me. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter. Reach out. Absolutely. Go ahead on and just make it a way to where you can get, if you can't get in touch with someone and you want to get that little advice, that counsel, just reach out to me. I'll be glad to answer any questions you have. I'll be glad to give you any kind of advice, that you need. So y'all feel free to do that. And first of all, again, thank you guys for tuning and listening, because it's so much that we could talk about. And and like Miss Tammy said, I would be honored, to be able to come back before you guys.
Yes, this has been amazing. I want to thank my sister. It's always a pleasure talking to you. I love you.
Oh, I love you too. And I wish we could have gotten more in a lot of detail about, you know, things, medicines and things of that sort. But it was a good candid conversation, and thank you again.
Absolutely. So hopefully we're gonna have her back on soon. We're gonna somebody always call me, right? So,
what the song say? That's just the way.
That's the way it is. So we just want to thank you, Michelle. Thank y'all for joining us for another show of Stronger and Better. We're here every Thursday at 11 a.m. We're going to be here next week, and we're going to have another great topic, and we hope to see you then. But please share this. Please do, add it to your watch parties, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel. You see it at the bottom. Please, we're trying to get subscribers. It will let you know every time we post something new. I love y'all, and please make sure you do everything you can do to be stronger and better. God bless you.
Bye-bye.